So this is my response video to the half of it. I really enjoyed it. I felt like I saw some deleted scenes, and that is what I'm going to talk about, one of them, coming up soon. And I felt like those deleted scenes could have made me enjoy the film more, as I felt like they didn't talk about some of the themes that they were trying to explore, where I felt like they just really could have gone more into the depths of their stories and like their kind of like their discovery of who they are, because it felt very underplayed to me. But I feel like the deleted scene honestly kind of made me see Aster in this new perspective, and it also kind of makes me think about the concept of religion and sexuality in another way, where I've thought about it prior, but I enjoy how the film explores that aspect, especially with the deleted scene. So I'm going to talk about the deleted scene and the scene that I think also additionally kind of bolsters that new perspective with sexuality and religion. So yeah. So in this deleted scene, we have Aster going to confession and talking to the priest about how she has feelings for someone other than her boyfriend. And so we can assume that this would mean it's Ellie, because it appears that this could have happened after the kind of explosive church scene where everybody is kind of confessing all of their feelings to everybody else. And so I feel like this scene is oddly very important and was not included, as it shows Aster's perspective, as she's not really this concept, because Paul kind of makes her out to be this perfect person and doesn't really ever get to understand who she is because Ellie's talking for her. So I feel like this kind of puts agency into Aster that wasn't really there prior, because she was just this figment that both Ellie and Paul just seem to love from afar without understanding who she is. Although throughout the film, Ellie does get to know her on a personal level, as she's the one writing the letters and understanding where her mind is coming from. So it's kind of this interesting duality where Aster now finally is presented as someone who has full autonomous agency with feelings and a backstory, where she is expressing how she kind of does want to be able to love her secret crush that she can't admit to herself and to anybody until this moment. So I feel like it's extremely critical that this scene could have been included. So that was kind of my discussion on that scene specifically. That kind of goes with the church scene where everybody is confessing their feelings. And so I feel like in a different way, even though throughout the film they talk about being gay or having different, or I guess alternative thoughts rather than the heterosexual norm, that it's kind of like a deviant and you're sinning. But in this church scene, and then in that following scene, the deleted scene, I feel like kind of subverts that notion where it is a sin, and they want to kind of represent religion not trying to impact sexuality. I don't feel like it takes a stance where it's like this is the safest space, just because I think they talk about both sides where it is safe, but rather it's not always that way. So I think that this film does do an interesting way of talking about it, where we have Paul, who's immediately like, that's a sin, but his parents are the one who say, if he's gay, we'll accept you. So I think that's one very interesting point that they include. And I think that it's interesting that all these confessions are happening in a church or in the confessional. So I feel like that does represent kind of this safe aspect, where I don't know if the film that's what they're going for and trying to say that, you know, the church is trying to be progressive. But I think that it does take an interesting stance, that it does talk about maybe not every church is that way, but in some churches you may find that safety net, and you should feel safe in expressing your sexuality. So yeah, I found it to be a really interesting conversation to have, and